On today's episode, I'm joined by Mr. James Kennedy, aka the 28-year-old male on Instagram, who has got one of the best followings and most loyal followings in the whole of Australia, I want to say. You have such a good connection to your followers and the way you're able to be funny, but also yourself at the same time and also take the mickey out of people, I find amazing. So well done, James, and welcome to the Warnside podcast.
Thank you. That's the best intro I've ever had. I'm a little bit. So I went from very calm, like, oh wow,
No,
I'm a bit nervous. That's very kind of you. Very kind.
There's probably a lot more I should mention, but I want to start with the first thing. Actually, what do we want to start? What's the first thing you'd like to talk about?
Well, I think it's nice to go back and people are probably watching this going, how the hell do these two guys know each other?
Yes.
And not only do we know each other, we've ended up deciding we're going to start a whole backyard
together.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Well, when did we first meet or get into contact, do you think? Because I know after Dad passed, you were one of the most sort of, in Melbourne, especially on socials, you were one of the most supportive people, supportive Instagram pages I saw across everything. You were sharing things at the State Memorial. You were sharing Dad's highlights. You were sharing anything me, Brooke, or Summer did, anything the Shane Warne Legacy did. You were just always being supportive. So when I started noticing that, I was always saying thank you and thank you. You were always saying, how can you help? What can we help with? And so I think that's sort of where the relationship started, wasn't it?
It was, and it was at the time. I don't think I'd quote unquote taken the mask off yet, and I was sitting back like many people, not just in Australia but around the world, were watching what you were going through and really feeling for you and your family and. Anything that I could do. I think we did 28 days for Shane from memory.
Yes.
Yes, we went past 23 and we just kept going, and it was nice to hear that was received well. That we just thought every day I'm going to share something of Shane, and one of my favourite moments there. I think you were bringing out. We went on radio together this morning and spoke about the exact moment I was talking about when he had to come out to an unruly,
calming down the crowd,
like only your father could have done with the English. It was Bay 13, wasn't it?
Yep, Bay 13.
I think that was the moment when I went, this guy might be the coolest person on the planet.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was at the MCG 1999. I want to say that was against England, and the captain, Alex Stewart, was just bowling leggies because they weren't sure what to do. The crowd of Bay 13 was just throwing rubbish and beer bottles, and they had to stop play. So Dad came out in his thongs and went up to Bay 13 and was like, put Mark Wall's helmet on. He's like, stop, please stop. Don't throw. And it just shows the connection that Dad had with the public and how much the public loved him, that they actually stopped and they were continuing to play cricket. I don't know if we'll ever see anything like that ever again in our sport, but yeah, I think it's a very iconic fairy tale moment of Dad's. It's definitely one of my favourites, and I love that it's also your favourite.
Absolutely, it is. But from there, you came on. I was lucky enough that you came on the pod. I was honestly, we've spoken at various stages about different parts of that pod, but never. When you said I'd love to come on, I actually got quite nervous, and I really want to make sure we hold the right space for you to talk in any direction you want to go. And it was a very exciting sort of a moment for us. I think I was actually late as usual to my own thing. I walked into the studio, and there you are sitting in the chair with Vedran and just making yourself at home and telling stories already. But we started talking backyard cricket and winding up and what are we going to do this summer? And I think I just asked you, would you bowl a couple of overs? And in your way that I've got to know very quickly, you are extremely generous, and said, no, I'll not only do that, how about we play a game at Shane's Oval in Sandringham? And actually, I won't care. You told a great story about bowling in the nets there with your father. How old were you then when that happened?
There was a few very well spoken though as well, James. Thank you. That's very nice. It was an honour to come on your podcast too. And by pure coincidence, I was episode number 23.
Yes.
Completely unplanned for. And before we get into the Backyard Series match, the connection that you told me a few weeks ago when we were really close to locking this down and ticking all the boxes for the Backyard Series match, you said you just got this really weird feeling, started going down the rabbit hole of Dad, and actually you saw the number 23 everywhere.
It's happening. This is not pissing in your pocket. I'll just break into just normal me for a second here. It was a couple of weeks ago, I think the way I worded it, I sent for context for anyone listening, when I send Jackson a voice memo, it usually goes for about 13 to 25 minutes.
It's a mini podcast.
I can't shut up or get to the point, which you're probably hearing here. It just started following me everywhere, that number. It was during the Perth test, that's right. And it was looking like, we've collapsed. Everyone's collapsed and it's not going to happen. And I just in a scroll hole late at night with my partner Emma on the couch and going, listen, YouTube comes up and it's Amazing Adelaide. And there was this story that everyone knows Amazing Adelaide, but I hadn't really heard Michael Clark's version of events and all that sort of stuff, and the dinner the night before and your dad talking about turning hope into belief. And he just really said, no, this is happening. This is what's going to happen. We're going to go out and we're going to roll them tomorrow. And look at this. This is great. And then it got into, after that, okay, that's great. And the next thing that pops up on my screen is The Last Dance, Michael Jordan, 23. One of my favourite, if not the best. I've named my dog after Dennis Rodman after I watched that, that doggo. But straight into the last scene I'd watched like 8 months earlier or something happened to be right at the end when Michael starts talking about turning hope into belief. And it's almost word for word what Shane said. This is the same night we're talking about. And it's just from that point on, this number 23 has been following me around everywhere. And I think the next morning I was having this sort of anyway, Australia came out and did roll over the top of them. But the next morning, I was just having this emotional sort of, it was bringing stuff up. It was, it sounds weird. I'm an internet meme guy to sit here in front of you and talk about, my feelings and, and my past and stuff.
Definitely don't sort of play yourself down and don't call yourself just an internet meme, because you've helped so many people, not just in Melbourne but in Australia, actually come out of their comfort zone. And we can get into it if you like, because the two things you've mentioned is revealing like the mask or taking the mask off and basketball. But the first thing I'd love to talk to you about is the basketball, because growing up that was sort of meant to be your dream, wasn't it? You thought you were going to be a basketballer, and you've obviously got the height for it. On radio this morning we said you're 6'10", but we'll round it up and say 7 foot.
Something like that.
Yeah,
it depends on the setting. If you're talking about football, you don't go over 6'9". It's a nice ruckman height. You can still be mobile. But if you're a basketballer, you're 7 foot.
7 foot, yeah.
And in shoes, 7'2".
Well, that's like me with shoes on, 6 foot, easy.
Yes,
easy.
Everyone's 6 foot if you're under.
Yeah, exactly. But basketball, growing up, that was your first passion. That was your first love.
It was. It was. I was a pretty different kid. I went to a Steiner school, and I'll go. It's hard to sound. I'm going to sound like I'm being very heavy, but I'll just go for it if that's all right.
You open up and only share whatever you're comfortable with. If there's something you don't want to talk about, don't talk about. But I want you to just feel as safe and as comfortable as possible. We have all the time in the world, so don't rush. Take your time.
No, sometimes what I go to share.
I'm a bit like you. I talk and then I go on for a 5-minute ramble when it was only meant to be one question. So maybe that's what we have in common, I have noticed.
I think we do. And this is sort of
perfect place to do it. It's a podcast, so go for
it. That's exactly what you just said there. When Shane did pass, I watched you at the memorial and speaking, and I honestly did see a lot of myself in how you were, and to have the courage to get up there and speak the way you did. It's hard to do. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say you're pretty similar to me, in that you're probably shyer by nature than you let on. Is that fair to say?
Definitely, yeah. I'm a massive introvert. It was only till after the State Memorial where that sort of I know this is about you, I'll just quickly give context, but yeah, it just completely changed my life. I've always been really introverted, would never really do anything on camera unless I absolutely had to. The first time I got on camera was during SAS, and the only reason why I said yes to that was because I knew I'd be getting so out of my comfort zone, and there was no production to cast interaction at all. So we weren't actually talking to any cameras or talking to anybody.
Right.
It was just purely do this military style course, see how you go, good luck. So that was the first time. That completely changed my life, gave me a completely new perspective on everything. But then, after Dad passed and after the State Memorial, when I'd walked on stage and spoke about something that was so private to me and so emotional to me and so in such a public setting on cameras in front of a live audience and all that sort of stuff, and walked off stage and felt okay and got a few claps, I was like, oh, that was a massive relief. And from my perspective after that that's probably going to be one of the hardest things I'll have to ever do in my life. And if I was able to do that at 22 and again, be okay, well, that sort of just set me up to be able to talk to you in front of this and the cameras. And even though we're in Dad's old office and we've sort of decked it out with bits of me and him, Like I feel like I'm in a very safe and comfortable environment. So I might look like I'm doing okay, but it took it took 22, 23 years to get here.
Beautifully articulated. That's very, very similar to the feeling within myself that I've had all the way through. I actually only gave my first public speech, well, technically it was when my grandmother passed away last year, and then I've always found a way to not, if it's dad's birthday or mum's birthday or someone, or even my own milestones, I just can't do it. I get physically ill. I feel like throwing up. My hands shake. I'm not nervous, but my hands will shake a little bit. You'll see that. I find it helps to just say it and show people and go, it's happening, but I'm all right. Don't stress.
I hope the environment you're in now, you feel a bit more safe.
Yeah, they're shaking less. I'll tell you what, it's a very comfortable environment.
Okay, good.
But
I'm glad.
It speaks to how comfortable you and both of you have made me feel coming into your environment. But
thank you, James.
That speech at the memorial that you gave was probably a turning point for me, watching how you did that and knowing full well how hard that would have been to do. I honestly had a moment going, pull your finger out, James. When Dad's next birthday, you're giving a speech, and look how long it took me to actually do one. I was still I was getting out, writing it and practicing and shaking, and so you without knowing helped me enormously to actually get over my own fear of public speaking and things. So thank you.
No, thank you, James, because that's one thing that without knowing, it's what I've gotten from a few people over the last few years, especially people in their late 30s, early 40s, when they've said they've lost either their brother or their mum or their dad or a loved one, and it's their turn to talk at the funeral. They've actually told me, they've gone, look, Jackson, I was meant to talk at my friend's funeral or brother's funeral, and I couldn't find the courage or strength to go up and talk. It was too sad and I was too emotional. So for you to do that for your dad in so public, like, well done. And I didn't really think of it like that, or I didn't really think it required a lot of strength, because for me, my mindset going on to the state memorial was, all I have to do is sit in this chair for 2 hours, and then I'm going to have around 2 minutes to walk on stage and talk. If I can just say my speech in that 2 minutes or minute and a half, whatever it is, something that I've written, it was from the heart. I said it at the private memorial. I've already rehearsed this. Just go out there and do it and walk off. That was my mindset. So I didn't think of all of the other outside noise. I'm quite able to block that out. I think that's where mum and dad have helped me out a lot. But I was able to block that all out, walked on stage, nailed it. But yeah, if I was able to help a few people by doing that, like yourself, well, then I think that's the whole, I don't want to say that's the whole point, but that's what can inspire other people.
And you wouldn't have, I'd imagine, thought that that's going to be the outcome going into it. You're there for a very different reason. And but I know I'm not the only one who had that reaction to the bravery you were able to show that day. But sorry, I just completely diverted the whole conversation back to you.
No need to apologise. This is what
habit of doing that.
No, well, trust me. I've started here, then gone back here, then gone over here. Like, it's all around in circles. So as long as the person watching and listening is engaged and they're not getting too bored, which I don't think they will be right now, they're loving listening to you. But it's been awesome. But yes, I'm glad I was able to help you in that way, James. But basketball. I would love to hear more about the 7-foot giant from Warrandyte. Am I allowed to say, am I exposing where you're from?
No. I think everyone knows now. I spend enough time in that pub for I think anyone who follows that page knows exactly on a map where to find me at any given time now. So it's gone from one extreme to the other. But I grew up, I went to Steiner School and not much sport going on there. I think I was the only kid. I think they still call it my basketball court. I was the only one who actually used it. Because I shot up at like 12 years old from – I was always a tall kid, but then I went from tall to fucking humongous. This kid – I've got to show you some – maybe I'll give you some photos for the B-roll here. There's old camp photos from like grade 5. Yeah. And it's just children, as you'd expect. And then there's this fucking 6'7" guy. In a Wu-Tang shirt at the time. I was pretty into rap and thought I was pretty gangster at the time. So it looked like the substitute teacher who'd just come straight off the streets of wherever Eminem's from.
Wow. So you were 6'7" at 13, 14 years old.
Pretty cool. I would have been 6'5", 6'6" in grade 5, 6.
Wow.
So it just went bang out of nowhere, and I had to do a lot of catching up and the hand-eye coordination. Yeah,
and it was always basketball, not AFL. Never got into ruck or any other sport.
I actually loved footy. Footy was I loved it until I got really tall and basketball really took over. But Dad played for North Melbourne during the 70s. I want to get this right, which year it was. I always forget which year he won a flag. He won a flag with the reserve side at North Melbourne, or the under-19s, and then he played in the reserves under Ron Barasky and Slug Jordan and with some of those great players. My grandfather volunteered at the time, and he actually never left until he passed away. He stayed there forever. He's in Hall of Fame at North Melbourne. And then my auntie, Dad's younger sister, ended up meeting her now husband, my uncle, who was playing for North, Tim Harrington, and they've this whole North Melbourne thing. They've ended up getting married. They met at the North Melbourne disco.
Oh, wow.
And so there's this big North Melbourne thing.
Yeah.
So I was always obsessed with North Melbourne, and I used to take speckies on the couch and all that sort of stuff. But
oh, how good is that? Do you ever go to the games?
I do. I still do. It's a tough watch at the moment.
Yeah. Have you managed to watch a win?
Not lately, but when they do, I really go for it. It's a big celebration when it happens.
Yeah, no, I've been to a few of the games, but I'm a Saints fan and we're a bit the same. We always start strong, then we fade from like round 9 to 18, 19, and then we always kick home.
Yes.
So we always finish in between that 11 to 14 or 12 to 15. So we don't get any of the good draft picks. We don't get any help from the wooden spoon. It's just
stuck in the middle, both
stuck
of us.
in the middle. We haven't had a father-son pick yet. We're hoping that apparently Nick Rewalt, Lenny Hayes, Joe Montagna.
There's a good crop there.
There's like 7 or 8 players. Like BJ, I think off the top of my head, they've all got kids all the similar age.
It's going to be scary if they all decide to play footy and
we're
they
all
can do
thinking
it.
hopefully 10 or 15 or 10, 12 more years we've got a squad.
We're all just waiting for the duck one of his many kids to come through. And
Exactly.
Yes, but yes, I played basketball. Sorry, I did it again. This is sort of the byproduct of coming out of this whole taking the mask off and having my own podcast. I usually ask the questions the other way, so I'm still getting used to it, so bear with me. But
no, all good. You're doing great. Is this your first time coming on a podcast as a guest?
Yes,
it is. Oh, how nice is that, Kaya? Oh, thank you, James.
I went on like a 200 plus, but more as a drop in and do some laugh stuff, but it was sort of semi-hosting with them too, so never have I sat in the other chair, so
nice.
I'm getting used to it, so thank you.
No, thank you. So,
but basketball, it was Park Orchard Steelers as my junior club. I sort of took it up once I really got tall. One of my aunties, I know you got to come play. She was volunteering. Yeah. Scotty's mother, Scotty James's mother, Celia, was volunteering down at Park Orchards in that comp, and then a whole family got into it, and Dad got right into it, and I'd sort of around 12, 13 started to excel a little bit, and started sort of climbing up the ranks and did pretty well. Couple of Australian teams and state sides and things with some pretty notable guys, and then I life kind of kicked me in the nuts. If I'm honest, I just couldn't keep it together, and ended up sort of self-destructing, and then I don't know how else to describe that. I just had this thought of if I get there, I'm not going to be able to do it. Something's going to go wrong. If it's going to go wrong, it's going to go wrong for me. It was this defeatist thing, like expecting something bad to happen because I was very different. I felt different. I probably looked different to everyone else who was rocking up there. The Steiner kid in the Wu-Tang shirt, 6'9".
So do you think that's why you stopped basketball, because of a lot of the negative self-talk in your head?
I think I talked myself out of sport. Absolutely. I was on a good trajectory, and every time it's something that follows me through in other parts of life, and I still have to keep a handle on. I want to be sort of wary when I hear people talk about past tense and things that have happened, that they can sound like I'm through it and that's not me anymore. I think I'm still working through it and always will be, but that's one thing I think follows me around a little bit. And it's, if something good's happening, it can't, no, not me. And whether I'm conscious of it or not, I'll have to be wary of not to self-sabotage a little bit.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for people that, like you just said, that when you go through something, you like to think it's in the past, I've dealt with it, it's fine. But like you said, there's a few things that are still ongoing that you're still working on. Do you have any advice for people that are a bit like you, that have done things in the past, but for them it is still ongoing and they're still trying to work on it or acknowledge it?
I think there's a few things, but
it can be physical, mental, it can be emotional.
I've been hard on myself with, I think this is the whole outlet I've used that 28-year-old male thing as for so long. It's I have really been pointing the finger at myself. While it sounds like I'm pointing it at making up stereotypes, and it's all things that I've fallen into, trying to show the world that I'm I'm like them and not uniquely who I am, which has probably been the best thing I've done, and I'm not there yet, but it's starting to just go, I am a bit weird, and I'm very different.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with being different.
That's right, and that is exactly why I love your dad. I really did. Like, he was someone. I'm going to tear you. He was someone. There's a few people. Your father. I think of Dennis Rodman. Is these common denominators here?
Yeah,
where
the ones that stand out.
Well, they were. I think your dad did this probably a lot better than Dennis Rodman did, but he was unashamedly himself and embraced how different he was, and he was different. And the more he seemed to embrace that, the more I think the outside world, he became a hero. Like, he was obviously the best to ever do it in terms of the game of cricket. But I'm looking at, and I think I did this a lot with sport, and people go, "Oh, who's your favourite? Was it Michael Jordan or one of the greats?" And I was drawn to those personalities more, because I would see something that, whether it's big or small, I connect with him. I get that. He's got a stump over his head. He's he's drinking cans, having a dart, or he's putting. I remember he was at the races one year. It was so funny. He's putting his face up against the window.
Yeah, I had the bullfrog with the glass around his mouth.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
I didn't just. I'm me and bad luck. And that wouldn't have been easy to do. I can't imagine with the amount of. And you as his children. You would have felt that pressure too, enormously, I imagine. But it's hard. Not to that level, I don't understand, but it's hard to be yourself when the world's telling you to be something else.
And that is such a good point, James. And I reckon that will resonate with a lot of people, because I think a lot of people definitely struggle with who they are or their identity or just trying to fit in. But I also think there's nothing wrong with not fitting in. Like, if you're in your own lane and you like your own things, that's great. And maybe it will take you a few years, but when you do get old enough, you will find people that like the same things as you. Like, growing up, I was always playing sport and games and all that stuff. But as I got older, I sort of put sport to the side and loved games. But the people I was playing games with were getting a bit older or not playing anymore. So now when I'm talking about games, it might sound weirdy and nerdy, but I've gotten older now that I'm at the age where when I'm bringing that up with other people, they go, "Oh, I still play games," or "I still do this." So it doesn't make you feel as, "Oh, is it okay?" So there's other people that still like the nerdy things like me, and that's why with this podcast studio, I've tried to keep it a good mix of, like, I've got Dad's baggy green and
it's brilliant,
his book and his trophy, but then I've got the Mandalorian up there, the Lego, and the Hulk. Like, I've tried to, the Mandalorian's hiding just up there, but I've tried to keep it a good balance, because it's taken me a long time to be like, I don't care. This is me. I love Lego. I'm a nerd. I like motorbikes, but I also love my dad. I love my family. I'm proud of his hard work with his books and his hole-in-one. So I've tried to keep it a good balance. But it's definitely something growing up where I hated being acknowledged. "Oh, you're Shane Warne's son. You're Shane Warne's son." And it's only been till older now where it's like, do you know how cool it is to say, "I am Shane Warne's son. I'm so proud of him." And he knew that, and I told him that all the time. But from the ages of about 12 to 16, 17, or even 18, you're like, I'm also just Jackson. I'm also, But yeah, I guess for you, that's probably why you started the 28-year-old male, is it?
But it very similar. But what you just said then, that's why I was just zoned in on what you were talking about. You articulated something that was going through my head when you asked the question before. Like I was trying to get it out, but you just nailed it. You do this a lot, by the way.
What do I do?
What am I trying to say here? And then you'll go, bang, that's it. What he said. But
Thank you, James.
It's that resonating piece. It's when you hear that come out of someone else, your own, in what I just said then, just to go, you know what I was thinking before you just said it. Every time that happens, that's the thing that gives me a bit more, okay, I don't need to worry about being different. You're
not alone.
I'm not alone. Yeah, I'm not the only one. I guess I'm not the only one going through those feelings, whether it's for different reasons. You're still having the same, there's similar sort of emotions and things. And I guess with the page, it is that, and that's when people have asked over the years. I come back at people who really are just new and want to have a little bit of a dig for whatever reason. If you don't get it, just wait, you'll get it eventually. But there's no point in explaining it to you. But it started as sort of my way of venting without going to see a psychologist, which is probably not the right way to go about it. You probably shouldn't just...
I'm a bit like you. I've said it on the podcast before as well, and sorry to cut you off.
No, please.
I've said I've never seen a psychologist or a therapist. Not that I don't believe in them, but I've got different ways to deal with things. I used to, and this probably isn't the healthiest thing, but I would get information or get told or feel things, bury it, and hope it would go away. But since Dad passing, I've realised something that affected me so much, which was my dad passing. I've found the more I actually talk about it, the more it's helped me. And so things like the State Memorial, going to things like all around the world that are honouring Dad and talking about him and starting this podcast and having the legacy, all these different platforms for me to talk about something which is so traumatic, which is my dad passing, has actually really helped me. So I would encourage everybody to actually just talk about it. It doesn't necessarily have to be to a therapist or a psychologist. It can even be out loud. And how I started doing all of this was after Dad passed, I would just be on my way to the gym, 20, 30-minute drive, and I would pretend, or not pretend, I'd believe, like I'd really believe it that he's with me in the car. So when I'm talking to him about things or trying to get advice or I've got a decision to make, I'd be like, Dad, is this the right thing to do? And I would just find that 15, 20 minutes of talking, even though to other people it might sound cuckoo, but if I really believe Dad's listening to me, he's here with me and he's heard what I've said, I find a lot of comfort in that. And then it's like, oh, I don't have to actually bury it. I've actually just acknowledged it. I've addressed it. I've gotten it off my chest. And all of a sudden there's a massive weight lifted off my shoulders.
I've talked to your dad a few times. I was sitting with that. I was just watering up a little bit. I don't know how good those lenses are, but I'm like,
Sorry, James.
Swallow it down, Jim. I've had a few chats to your old man in the last couple of weeks since we started doing all this. And this is something, what you just said, that I've always done with my grandparents who have passed. And there's people I speak to. And I know that I'm not a religious guy, but they're there. I know they're there. There's too many things that can't be coincidental to me that say they're there. With you, it's 23 years everywhere. And that was when I started having a chat, and it'd be funny if Em was here. She'd be giggling, going, "He's telling the truth here." I was sitting on the couch the other day, and we're talking about the game that we're putting together, and I can't remember exactly what I was saying, but I stopped mid-sentence, and I was like, "What are you doing?" Don't worry, mate. I've got him. I'll look at it. Don't worry. We'll do this well, Shane. We've got this under control. It's going to be great. Jacko's doing a great job. And she's like, "Are you talking to Shane?" Yes. Who else do you reckon I'm talking to?
Thank you, James.
It's something my mum actually used to do a lot when she's speaking to her grandmother and things. It's just sort of. But yeah, I've had a few chats to your old man.
It's so beautiful. Hopefully, all like in happy tears or positive But thank you
all
for talking to him to make sure you've got. Like you're protecting me and making sure I'm okay, which can probably lead into the next thing. Actually, I want to talk about 28-year-old male and then we can talk about the cricket day. But yes, you started the 28-year-old male and that was because of you wanted to get things just off your chest anonymously or is that right?
Yeah, it's when I was, we were out there before going, we can go in any direction. My life has been one of the great roller coasters. I've always said I'll write a book about it one day. Whether it's interesting or not, I don't know, but it's just been so wild. I had that upbringing where it all probably did come from self-sabotaging myself and not wanting to just completely commit to going, I'm going to really try this because I fully expected I would eventually fuck it up. And it's this self-fulfilling prophecy that, I'm just telling myself that so eventually I would stop. So it led me to a pretty weird, probably early adulthood. I went from playing basketball to sabotaging that, going, no, you know what? I don't want to go to college. And I was in the Australian side at one point and it was just looking like it would go in that direction and there was no reason it shouldn't. And I reckon, to be honest, I reckon I made up a bunch of excuses to stop and convince myself that I shouldn't play basketball. I should go play footy and I've never played footy in my life. I'm just a footy fan and it was just a way to not fully give myself to that and feel the heartbreak that would have been not happening.
So you almost, if you didn't want to know, you didn't want to hear the news of you're not getting picked, or you didn't want to go through it and get rejected in a way.
Yep.
You didn't want to go through that. I have never even thought about it like that, but
I think that's
for me,
exactly what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, growing up, I never had any interest in cricket or never had any desire to play cricket. But I think there's also a part of me that was like, what happens if you do take up cricket, and what happens if you do like it? But then you're really bad and then you're constantly getting compared. You're constantly saying from everyone that you're shit or why'd you, just all of that. And so I think, I didn't want to hear any of that news or go through any of that experience. I'm not going to give it a go. So maybe you've just made me realize maybe
exactly-
that's something that I was dealing with, which I didn't even know.
I didn't know it
It's like the
until I
fear of
was,
failure.
yes, I didn't know it until, funny enough, 28. When
Yeah.
when the whole, this last 9 years of being 28, I still am for the record. Don't do math.
Yeah.
It's been a bit of a self-discovery thing, but I didn't realise until, wait, how old are you, by the way?
26. So I'm 2 years off being 28.
It's coming.
I'm nearly there. I feel 50 though. I feel like I'm definitely an older soul.
You'll feel younger when you're 30, I reckon.
I hope so.
Once some weight gets off your shoulders and you go, it's all a bit funny, isn't it? All this.
I hope so.
But I didn't come to that realization until I did go and actually see a psychologist. I've got a great psychologist now, Alana. I should give her a plug, actually. Alana Greco. She's been enormous for me.
How nice
particularly
is that?
in the last year, she's just been helped me sort of articulate and put to words some of the things we're talking about now. But yeah, that fear of failure or rejection. Rejection is probably a better word, but I try not to use it because you can probably see I'm darting around the room going, what's another word, so I don't have to say the word rejection, because it's almost this, for me, I think it's embarrassment's the word. That, I had that as I was a kid who was bullied, and when you come out and you're 6'5", I can laugh about it now. It's pretty weird when you're that young to look at it. It's just unusual, not weird, but just different to see.
Yeah.
So you get a lot of, I felt like I've had eyes on me at all times, not for being famous or good at anything. Just, I think that turned into expectation of you can't just be that and not be very successful at probably basketball or football or whatever it is. So that was just always in my head. And once it looked like that's not going to happen for me, because I've probably just shot myself in the foot with all this, and I probably self-destructed a bit and took on every. And I didn't grow up with all these stereotypes I'd take the piss out of and things. I was just a social observer. That's where I kind of get all these observations from, is sitting in the back of the room going, I don't know, I'm not cool. What are you guys doing? You're doing that off the glass table? All right. Okay. Okay. Well, is that what we do?
You seemed to fit in though pretty well yesterday when we were at the Melbourne Stars in the cricket nets. I saw you completely connect with Peter Siddle, Marcus Stoinis, Glenn Maxwell, the coach. Like you fitted in very well. You're making them laugh a lot more than I was. I sort of just wiggled in there. You sort of took control of everyone. You're like, all right, I'm going to make the jokes. Come here, and you did the Donald Trump handshake, and mate, they were all laughing at you, laughing with you. You were just a great person to be around. So
I appreciate that.
Trust me, maybe all of this, hardship and awkwardness, and I'm not sure what the right word. We'll use awkward.
Right.
The awkward growing up, childhood. You've managed to use that experience into something that, as you're older now, using that as actual fuel and personality and energy.
I think it does.
Because I literally witnessed professional athletes just want to keep talking to you. They were literally trying to leave. You made them laugh and they just came back for an extra 10, 15 minutes. That's your ability. You've got that ability that you're drawing people towards you.
I don't. That's very nice to hear. I just got blushing in the face then. That's embarrassing.
No, it's true. It's contagious. You're somebody that people will enjoy to be around, especially myself.
Mate, that means a lot. That's all I'm really trying to do, is make other people feel comfortable when I'm doing that stuff. It's either making people feel comfortable, or you'll hear it, if there's too much silence, I'll make some stupid joke that the more I'm laughing when there's too many silences, he's nervous or he just wants to make sure everyone's feeling comfortable. Yeah. I see you do that for whatever reason. It's probably very different to me, but you try to make people feel comfortable. You're very accommodating, very generous, very checking if everyone else is all right before yourself. You're constantly putting people first. I think when we came to your Halloween party, I might have been a touch overdressed, actually. I came as Ben Stokes.
Yeah.
Couldn't find any beard dye, so I put Dolmio stuff on my face, or a box of Cheetos or whatever it was as a beard. But as soon as we walked in, and that's that in the best way possible, that sort of scenario where we don't know anyone at all. And my partner came along, thank God. If I go into a new environment, I'm terrified. No matter, doesn't matter if you're there. To me, that's there's so many people I didn't know. So internally, I'm just on fire, heart's going, and you immediately, mate, and your best mate, one of your best mates, Sam, immediately dragged me in. You're not going to stand around awkwardly. Get in here and play this game. And
no, you fit in perfectly, and thank you so much for coming. I've actually realised we probably do have a few more things in common, because you've just reminded me of another story. I was 19 years old. I was going into a party, and I only knew one person, and that person was a girl, and I was sort of a +1 to this party. And I was out the front of the party for about 20 minutes because I was genuinely too nervous and scared to go inside. Hadn't even had a drink yet, but I had this enormous amount of butterflies in my stomach that I was genuinely felt sick. And as soon as we walked in, I said hello to a few people, had my first drink, and I'm like, I feel horrible. Had to go to the toilet, started vomiting, and then left. And that was not because I got too drunk. I had one drink, but I was just so nervous and anxious and shy and out of my comfort zone that I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go home. And so that is, I've experienced that a few times, and that's why I really don't do many public events. But it only really changed for me after SAS with the public events, because that gave me just an enormous amount of confidence.
So that really did help the SAS.
That helped me a lot. Yeah, like my whole family, dad, mum, Brooke Summer, they've all messaged Ant, told Ant when we've caught up with him, because he's a very close friend now. They've all said, Ant, thank you so much for looking out. Well, he didn't look after me, but he did in a way. But thank you so much for having Jackson on your course, because we saw him go as a boy and come out a man. Like, it genuinely completely changed my life. And what it was able to do to me in such a short amount of time, I wish I could go back and do it again. But yeah, if I could encourage anybody to do something, it is just get out of the comfort zone. I know it sounds cliche, get comfortable being uncomfortable, but that is genuinely where you'll grow the most. I've nearly faced all of my fears I have when I was on that course. We had to write down our fears. I wrote socializing, food, and cold water. I can now pretty much go into any environment where I don't know anyone and be okay. So I ticked the socializing. Food, I'm still a little bit fussy, but I eat a bit better. So I think I've ticked that off.
The last one here, hold on a second. You're an ice bath owner, a proud one.
Exactly. And I'm now an ice bath owner. So it's weird that all of these things that we're usually so fearful of or scared to do, once we do them, we're like, oh, that actually wasn't that bad. And that's what gives the confidence. That's what makes us grow. So
I hope lots of young people listen to this and hear that it's exposure therapy to it in a way. I was having a giggle to myself then that they make you write your fears down, and it's the last person
I didn't write down spiders. That was my true fear. I didn't write down spiders.
That's almost where I was going.
That's the one I was dodging.
but then the last person you want to give that to is the producer of a show about the SAS.
Yeah, exactly.
But I guess in that scenario, just watching on, it looks like with the SAS model, you don't have any time to think about it, and that's where it stops me personally with the public speaking stuff I was talking about before. The more I have time to think about it, the more I'm going to convince myself to not do it, and there's a good reason. And we're very good lawyers in our own heads to we can make some very convincing arguments to not do things when we're feeling those emotions, but rip the Band-Aid off like you did.
Yeah, and your brain does amazing things to try and get you not to do something, so it can be really negative. Like, your brain's almost a lot better at being negative than positive. So that's why if you can just train your brain to always be positive in any situation, in any scenario, when you have any problem, just always try and think of the solution.
Have you always thought that way? Is that something that within your whole family that's
I think so. I think so, but it only got reinforced after SAS and after Dad passed. There's been so many sort of situations or moments where I was in as a kid and never took acknowledge of. But then after Dad passed and there was a difficult decision to make on something, I instantly knew what to do. And I only instantly knew what to do because I'd experienced it when I was a kid, but didn't really remember. And that might sound weird, but I had an interesting childhood and growing up, and I was lucky to have the best dad and the best mum in the world. But there was so many negative things about it, and I turned all those negatives, or what was my normal, that now that I'm a bit older, I have a better understanding of things. I know a bit more about business. I can see people's true intentions. I'm quite a good reader of people, and that's all stuff I only knew through mum and dad growing up. So when growing up, I didn't think it would be important. It is important. You know, for context, Dad used to have his business meetings with his accountants, managers, lawyers, PAs, all these people once a month. And Dad, when I got a bit older, was just like, Jacko, just come sit in, ask a question if you got any, but I just want you to listen. And I'd just listen. And didn't really take note of it. It wasn't really important from when I was 15 years old till, you know, Dad passing. But there's been situations where I've been in the room now and there's a business decision to make and I've gone, oh, hang on. I know what I should do here. I've heard this before. This is wrong. I know what Dad would do. And then all of a sudden my answer becomes very clear.
I call this experiential learning. I'm just letting you go because it's just, again, freaky how.
Sorry, I keep talking about me. This is about
no,
you.
it's
Sorry,
about
sorry, sorry.
us. Just a conversation. So again, very all over the place life, but in my early career, after spending time in a very different environment out at Doherty's gym, which we can chat about later on, but I became a youth worker. So I started working with young people in out-of-home care and youth homelessness and things like that. So pretty shitty upbringings, and their homes are not safe to be living in. So the state sort of take over a custodianship or a guardianship, and they're in the state's care. And I was one of the youth workers. So I came from a family full of youth workers. Mum's the eldest of 10, dad's always been a school teacher and things. But I had my first job, and I'll just sort of jump forward a little bit. I ended up being part of the development of this program that's still running now. It's called Better Futures. We called it Developing Independence. But one of the pillars of what that was this theory of experiential learning. So I was a school refuser, Mum calls it, where I love to learn. I'm very curious. I self-teach. So everything that I know, I do not attribute one bit of it to school. I went to a Steiner school until high school, and then I bounced from all these normal, quote unquote, high schools, not really liking the way that they teach or what they were trying to teach me. So I was very much just listening to my parents and reading, and I'd love to read and I love to write. I've always loved to write, hate math. But I didn't understand how much I was learning until I hit my mid-20s. And, just like you just said then, I'm in a room and I'm trying to start a business. My first business was, the yogurt YoPro.
Yeah.
That was me.
Did you start YoPro?
Yeah, so I had a protein ice cream called YoPro, frozen yogurt, called YoPro.
Yeah.
Obviously didn't take off. It got to the point of you need $1 million to get this into IGA and Woolies and all that sort of stuff. Long story. I'm doing this again, but
no, this is what it's about. People will be interested to hear that. I had no idea.
Selling it out the back of it's probably still on Instagram somewhere. If you look it up, there's a page called YoPro Frozen Yogurt, and
I'm pretty sure they sell YoPro though, don't they?
Well, they do now.
IGAs and Cole. Oh, so that wasn't your YoPro.
So this current one isn't. So they Denoy yogurt, Denoy dairy. And this is hilarious. So I'd been at Doherty's. I'll try and not make this too long of a story here, but
no, people will want to listen.
It's kind of funny. I was working at Doherty's, and there was some. It was during a time at Doherty's where next door there was some stuff going on. There was some people on motorbikes and things like that, and just social circles happened. And then there was a pretty heavy incident that happened that was well reported around the news. That I was like, oh my God, what's happened? I was doing basketball 5 seconds ago, and there's an army tank coming up the street, raiding here, there, and everywhere, and. So everyone in that place was brilliant to me. They're all still my great mates, but it was just a whirlwind. Like, how the hell did I get here? Like everything else in my life. But during that time, I thought, how am I going to make a business? I know. I like frozen yogurt. How about I'll put protein in it? So I literally got a mate of mine, Scotty, had this other frozen yogurt business where he had the machines and soft serve. I can't remember the name of it. Sorry, Scott. Yo Get It, I think it might have been. So he let me have a machine for a while. So I was literally pouring protein powder in with it was horrendous. Yeah. And then after that, I went through the whole process of learning, design and all that sort of stuff, packaging, all the way down to how would you get a product to shelf. Didn't realise it's way too much money to do that. So I was just slinging it out the back of Doherty's. Yeah, so that got to a point where I went, okay, I've had my run. That was a good experience. That was my business school. So I didn't realise how much I learnt there. But then this story I want to tell you is after that, there was a bit of a crash out in life where I left Doherty's, and because that was a pretty, it was a bit of a traumatic period of time for me. That was when I think I've spoken publicly at different times. I'd had a pretty rough time during that period of time. But after that, I was living back with my parents for a little while, and I kept getting a knock on the door. I kept thinking it was the cops. They're coming for me. Oh no, what have I done?
I'm paranoid.
I was thinking, oh no, I hadn't done anything. I'm just thinking, oh God, am I guilty by association? What have they done over there? Or whatever was going on there. It's just total whatever. But ignored this person twice on 2 different occasions, whatever. And they came back again. I'm trying to get this right. Knocked, and I just opened the door. Oh shit! Hi, are you James Kennedy? Mum had opened the door and go. The first two going, no, he's not here. He's not home. Don't answer. I've probably done something. Could be speeding fines. Who knows?
Yeah.
and they go, I'm from Denoy Yogurt in New Zealand. We're looking to put a product forward. It's called YoPro Yogurt. They were trying to make just the yogurt that they've got now.
Yeah.
Idiot me, I didn't know how big Denoy was.
Yeah.
Called up a lawyer, mate. Well, how much should I ask for? What do they want? The domain, the all the intellectual stuff.
Yeah.
I won't say the number, but
Yeah.
to ask them for this much. It was a very quick yes. Oh no, I should have asked for more.
Yeah. Add a zero.
Yeah, but anyway, incidental learning. You go through all these experiences and things, and that's one of 10 different random things that I'm sort of involved with that I get to now the place I didn't think I'd end up in after 5 years as a footy coach and a youth worker and whatever that was, and gyms and yogurt and all this sort of stuff. And I've probably spent from age 28 to 31 where, oh my God, have I done enough in life? Yeah, I've done a hell of a lot of things that while I didn't go and get a uni degree or anything, I think I've come out a fairly well-rounded and educated person just from these strange, wild situations I've found myself in that I kind of parody on the internet. And
yeah, you've definitely become a very well-rounded human being because you can make people laugh, you can be serious, you can bring people together. You've got such a good natural ability of just being yourself, but that being contagious in a positive way.
I appreciate that.
If that makes sense. And no, I mean it. And it's been awesome actually developing a proper personal relationship with you over the last few years because I'm still finding out now we have so much in common.
We have.
So
Yes.
thank you for opening up, James.
No, I appreciate that. I even forgot why I brought up the experiential learning thing. It was youth work. So we actually created a program out of this thing. Sorry to jump back on it.
No need to apologise.
Where we would work with those kids who are, they've been school refusers themselves or for whatever reason not being able to go to school. And we would sit down and actually do what we're doing now and talk about each other's lives and share stories with each other. And by the end of it, I'm sitting there writing, did the dishes with mum, has memories of doing this with dad or cousin this. And oh, did you go to school? Oh, no, I don't know anything. I'm dumb. By the end of it, you've got this giant list of, well, you did the dishes with mum, so the house stuff, you know how to maintain a house. You went out to the car yard. I used to do this with
so you became independent. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah,
you became independent quite young.
Yes, and this is the sort of stuff I'm getting at. Like there's a kid called, I'll say his name, Brody. He's an adult now, but all he knew was cars. So when you go and meet him, if he wants to talk about cars for 2 hours, you talk about cars with him, take him to the car yard and meet the mechanic, it goes through everything about cars or meet someone who's involved in racing or whatever. By the end of it, he's going, oh, there's a job. I can be a mechanic.
Yeah,
that's
I'm
a
not
thing.
alone. There's other people that like what I'm interested in. We've got things in common. Oh, there's someone else like me. Yeah, and that would bring an enormous amount of comfort to him as well and peace of mind.
Absolutely, and the learning doesn't always look like in a classroom.
It's not a pen to paper
Absolutely.
or numbers on a screen.
I apologise for jumping back in there.
No, please don't apologise. It's an important message because I've had a few people on this podcast where school wasn't for them and they've turned out to be pretty successful, peaceful. The first two I'll use as an example is Andrew Bassett. He knew school wasn't really for him. And why I started and use him as an example is because we went to the same school. And nothing towards Brighton Grammar. I love Brighton Grammar. But we both knew, and especially Andrew, that school just wasn't for him. He had other ideas. He knew what he wanted to do. And so he's become very successful, but he doesn't really credit that to school as such.
Right.
And then the other one is Jack Higgins. He's become a very successful young footy player. He knew school wasn't really for him. He dropped out and he's still managed to be himself without compromise and make a living doing something he loves. So I don't think necessarily if you fail at school, you're going to fail at life. I think it's one of the systems that over 100 years hasn't really evolved or changed. Yes, there's been new technologies come in. Well, let's start to use them. Don't punish kids for using Google or AI to do an answer where the question you're asking, we're not going to use in real life. Why do you want to waste 10 hours of our time doing our own research when ChatGPT or something can do it in 3 seconds?
I still haven't used algebra. Have you?
You haven't? No, I haven't used algebra or BODMAS, but
No.
it's just all these things that when the older you get, you realize, why was I wasting 30, 40, 50 hours a week trying to rehearse or study about this certain artist or, just unless you're really passionate towards it or it connects with you or resonates with you and it's important to you, go for it. But I think with school, Don't have 20 individuals that are all completely different in every way, shape, or form. Don't get them all to do the same thing. There's a really good photo of a tall tree, and I think there's like a bird in the tree, and at the bottom of the tree, they've got like an elephant, a tiger, a penguin. They've got a turtle, all these different animals, and there's one teacher going, all right, whoever can get the bird first wins. But you're telling 10 different animals who have all different skill sets and abilities to try and do the one thing.
Got to get a hold of that photo. That's a ripper.
Yeah, it's such a good photo, and it's so true because it's like, yeah, it's just, yeah.
We are all uniquely different, so embracing
Exactly.
those unique skills and talents and intricacies that make us the individuals we are. I think that's the way. And you mentioned AI. I'm not helping with that. I don't think.
You've got some great content on your page with AI, with the Ben Duckett and the Pat Cummins and the Joffre. You got this. If you're watching and listening and you want a good laugh, go 28-year-old male and just look for some photos and videos that are AI, and you'll absolutely piss yourself.
At your own discretion.
At your own discretion. But before we would wrap up, the one thing I'd love to finish on is the passion project that we're doing together, which is our first game in the Backyard Series, Australia versus England. But to give context about how it started, do you want to explain how it started?
Yeah, very early doors. I've been winding up every country that dares set foot on our soil every summer for 10 years now or longer. Last year when we had the border, how do I say his last name?
Gavaskar.
Gavaskar. I'm going to get that right. I've tried many times and stuffed it up every time, but that trophy that came out, that was one of the most, I reckon that was one of the best years of Test cricket I can remember, and the engagement winding up the Indian fans, it just went completely bananas. It was great. We had this great summer last year. So I thought, how can we make that even funner? Because they've gone from hating me, some of the hilarious inboxes I get, and you've seen many of them, to they're all in my inbox now. If I don't wind up and do the ridiculous shit that I do, I will cop hundreds of messages saying, why are you not saying Virat Kohli is your son?
So now
they
it's
get
like
angry at me for not doing it.
So now it's like if we versus New Zealand or another country and you don't pipe up, you're going to have upset England and India fans because they're like, hang on, you went hard on us, go hard on them.
Exactly.
But it might get to a point where you've gone hard on every single country that you're like, uh-oh.
I'm running out of friends.
Now. Yeah, I need some more friends. That's when we get China to start playing cricket, and we have China or someone in our team.
We'll go to Ireland or something and wind them
Ireland. We'll recruit a new country.
Yeah, but out of that, I thought, what could be fun this summer? And I thought what if I just rocked up? This is before we spoke. What if I just rock up and in the streets of? I was actually going to go to London by myself with some stumps and just put them in the street and go, come on, Palms, have at it.
Yeah.
And then we had you on the pod and you came on and we had a chat about many things, but we brought up the fact that I wanted to do this. I think I said, would you bowl a couple of overs? And being the guy you are, you said, no, I won't just do that. We'll do it at Dad's Oval in Sandringham, the Shane Oval, and I'll call all of his mates and we'll get everyone involved and we'll make a day of it. And it's escalated from there. You've really taken hold of it and made it something pretty awesome.
Thank you, James. I definitely don't want to take any credit for it. You've done a lot of the work as well. And the day hasn't happened yet. I know I'm a bit nervous if we're going to get a crowd, and you said, oh, don't worry, we'll get some people. But yeah, I just know that it's something Dad would have loved to have done because he loved bringing people together. It's Australia versus England. He loved the English and the English loved him. It's on the 23rd, which is the number he wore. You were seeing 23s everywhere too.
On that day.
On that day.
It's the 23rd episode of the podcast.
Exactly. It starts at 2:30 p.m. and it's in Sandringham where he was a junior. So he literally grew up 5 minutes from where we're playing. And after he passed, the Bayside Council said, this is going to be called the Shane Warne Oval. So it's pretty cool that it's going to be Australia versus England, Dad's friends, me and you, captain, vice captain, versing members of the Barmy Army, the English public, local people. On the Aussie side, it's just, it has a really nice feeling.
It does.
And I hope Dad would be proud of both of us for doing something like this for him. And it's just a nice way before Christmas to bring everybody together. Because I know a lot of the players, especially when Dad was playing and even commentating, Christmas for a lot of these people traveling is, I don't want to use the word sad, but it's quite isolating because you're spending your Christmas in a hotel room. Sometimes you're away from your family. If you alone, or if you're isolated, not with anybody, you're spending your family with the staff and the cricketers, which is fine. But usually Christmas is a day with your family. So it was a nice way that we're able to bring people together. I know Dad would have wanted us to do something like this. We've done a golf thing. We've done a poker thing. So hopefully this can be the cricket thing. Obviously, we've got our big activation at Boxing Day, and Dad's legacy will always be remembered in the cricket world. But if we can come together and do something at his oval
Absolutely.
and, you know, for the public for free, I think it'd be cool.
Absolutely. Well, two things that come to mind there. One, I think he would love seeing you. We were in the nets with the Melbourne Stars yesterday in the kit, looking like a proper cricketer yesterday, and playing like one, not pissing down your leg again. But no, you were. And we'll put that video will probably be up by the time this gets up. But I reckon he'd be up there pretty proud looking at that, and then looking at who's your idiot mate who's trying to bowl to you and getting in the net one over from you. Yeah. But the other part of this, I think I was listening to your great friend Michael Vaughan, who I have an unashamed man crush on. I think he's just a fantastic voice in all this. Just talking about, I guess he's just a positive guy, and thinking about the stuff that I do on the internet. And if you do wander in and see, you know, me winding people up mercilessly, and I'll never stop at this because it is a Trojan horse for getting people to come in with that, whether you come in angry, come in laughing, whatever it is. As long as you get here and once you're here, the positivity will follow. We're all mates. We'll look after each other. That's that 28 community. I'm proud of that. But for the English guys, I think even in the past week, we've had something very horrible happen up in Bondi, which is sort of made me think of Warnie there. But the English to come, and it can get lost in the banter that we are mates. We're all mates. This is all coming from a place of love and the long mutually appreciated art of sledging and bantering and winding each other up, all in good faith. And I think whether it's the universe or something, or your dad up there going, no, these two, this is the right combination to bring this together, and whether it's in, you know, remembrance of Shane or whatever it is to do something that brings the two countries together and just brings people together and puts a smile on their face, I think is a great thing. And your dad was the master of it, and I think he would be proud.
Very perfectly said, James. Thank you for that. And mate, I wouldn't have wanted to do this with anybody else. So thank you for finding the time to say yes and putting in the effort and the time. It's going to be a special day. But I would love to see you take a wicket or at least hit a six, because in the nets yesterday, I'm not sure if we'll get at least one of them, but it would be nice to at least see one of them.
I think I might be able to connect with the bat. Just don't get Sids on the line here, right? Just fact check me here. It took about 10 balls for me to make connection with the ball.
That's all right. As long as you're having a go, which is what anybody can ask for.
I might bowl spin. I'm sorry.
No, there you go. Yeah, you want to bowl spin?
I think I might bowl spin.
Why not?
Learning pace too quickly. No,
yeah.
I'm going to bowl spin.
Go for it. Well, mate, good luck. That's what I said I'm going to bowl, but they're actually just moonies.
I'll bowl moonies.
So just, say you're going to bowl leggies, but just bowl it really slow, and the batsman will either try and creep forward and hit it for a six, or they'll miss and get stumped.
Right.
So it's kind of a win-win.
Yeah, okay, I like
Or you get hit for six.
Is this
but we don't talk about that.
Hold on. Is this when you made, how many wickets did you take on moon balls?
This might have been when I took a hat-trick and 4 or 5 balls,
There it is.
Yes.
You got to bowl moons. Anyway.
Moonies are the way. But James, thank you so much for coming
Thanks
on,
for
mate.
having me.
Is there anything you'd like to end on or promote? Or tell your fans, or where they can come and see you or listen to you?
I've never thought about that. I've never had the opportunity to plug something. Maybe, the podcast is the one that I think as this whole 28 thing evolves, that's where I'm going to start really leaning towards. It's a way to do what we've just done there. I've really enjoyed what we just did there. And thank you for holding that space and allowing me to kind of come out a little bit. I've scratched the surface, but a lot deeper than I'd probably ever have in this format. So I appreciate it. So follow the 28-year-old male on wherever you get your podcasts. I've never said that.
Yep. No, well, thank you for opening up, James. I hope you're comfortable with everything. I hope I didn't bring up anything too upsetting or
no.
But I'm sure people will have loved listening to that and hopefully find out some more about you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
All good. Thank you, James.
Pleasure.
Thank you.